When you see evil, address it, confront it. You will find out that you being the catalyst will get other people to step forward also, and they will line up with you. It seems like we're the few, but America can agree on a lot of things right now, and I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, and it is individuals, specifically the Zionists, that have ruined our country. AIPAC. These groups have done some serious undermining and hijacked for the perversions, these baby sacrificing, disgusting creatures that believe that they are superior to the human beings, except for they think we're cattle. That's not me saying it. Listen to what they say about Christ, and it tells you everything you need to know about these creatures.
And Mary, I'm not Catholic, so I don't necessarily think Mary is holy, but I respect Mary as Jesus' mother. She's the vessel that birthed Jesus. But,
the virgin birth.
Yeah. There's something that Christians and Muslims do have in common, and it is that we're both referred to as Goyim in the Talmud, which is, people don't know what the Talmud, the Torah is what the first 5 books of the Bible, right? And then I think that's what Judas followed.
It's a small sect also that I refer to, and I call them Zionists because it's the easiest way to pin them down. Yeah. I love Jews. I love my Jewish brothers and sisters. They would agree with what I'm saying. They speak out every day, and they get censored, and they're despised as much as everyone else, because they tell the truth about the agenda of the genocidal maniacs that they are. They're evil.
Well, I'm curious to see.
I don't know. We need to get Washington back.
I'm curious to see Thomas Massey. I mean, this is Tuesday night, but Thomas Massey has a runoff tomorrow in Kentucky. He was just down the road about an hour and a half from me here in Florence, Kentucky. And Matt Gaetz showed up to interview him. I wanted to go, but I was unfortunately predisposed. But I'm cheering for Massey. I've kind of come around on Massey. I thought he was kind of an obstructionist. He was always. What if everybody's going to vote one way, and you're the only vote, or you're the one guy holding up everything, it just seemed like he was kind of obstructing things. Like, I'm just like, bro, if you at least haggle or try to argue, like, I understand politics is a lot in compromise. I know it can't just be like black and white, one way or the other. Everybody's got to
be black and white.
Yeah, I agree, but I think. In the way of making a deal, right? Like, I could see there's some things you can't compromise on, but there's
every deal they make is them trampling on the Constitution, and that's the way it is. People need to understand he is in the most important race that we will see. Okay, his removal will tell you everything you need to know about Washington and the establishment. Okay, when people like him and Ron Paul that truly represent the Constitution and the American people and the spirit of the American way, all right, when they're shoved out because they tell a group of genocidal maniacs, no, I don't want your money, and you need to register as a foreign agent like everyone else, and that's a problem. I don't see that that's a problem. I just think that's calling balls and strikes. I hope nothing but the best.
Pretty sure that's what got JFK killed. Just saying.
Well, I mean, isn't this like a repeating pattern?
Yeah.
What do you think?
What do you think? Like, you used to tell me, like, the Zionists, like, you told me years back, and I'm like, I don't know, Peter. I don't know. And what do you think in the last year on social media? And it's like the dam has broken. Like what you said years back, everybody is saying now. Whether it started with like Nick Fuentes, like there's many, many people talking about it. But it just kind of was like this dam broken. And once people started talking about it, and they stopped there were so many people on social media talking about it that they couldn't shut everybody down, because people would have been like, what the hell just happened? Because everybody would be gone. And it's just very interesting that whenever Netanyahu came out and he's like, we're going to start paying influencers, $7,000 a post, and then we're going to start asking, people to shut down these pages if they're, anti-Semitic, which is
Google, Facebook.
Yeah, and so, but they're not.
YouTube.
They're not now. I mean, there are some, like, I think.
They were doing that for the last 30, 40 years.
Twitter.
It's just so obvious now they're being called out, and they're having to acknowledge the obvious, the elephant in the room. Israel has to unite the world in hating it so they can usher in, the Antichrist.
Yeah.
And you can not believe it all you want. They believe it. And they want the world to ascend on it like the plague so they can usher in it. And again, listen at what they say about Christ. He's burning in hell in excrement and fecal matter.
Yeah. And they said Mary's a whore.
And that the Blessed Mother, in Christianity is a whore. These people are not your friends. There's nothing about that is of heavenly or godly in any manner. These people think they're better than you. They're supremacists in the ultimate form. Everything else is a distraction. But what they want is the world to ascend on them so they can hopefully usher it in. When the reality is they murdered Christ. They killed Messiah.
That's right.
So they chose to do that.
I kind of want to shift gears. I've had some interesting developments in the last few weeks in my life. My son had his gender reveal. I'm going to be a grandpa for the first time, and he is having a daughter, so I'm going to have a granddaughter. And we're excited about that.
Congratulations. That
was Sunday. This is Tuesday. We're recording a week ahead, and then my youngest son, Shane Jr., graduates Thursday. So in 2 days, I will be flying down to Texas to attend his graduation, and then he is going to be going. I thought he was going to the Marines. He's going to the Army now, so that's exciting. And then I will be going to Colorado to attend the Tina Peters protest, even though the governor has decided to let her out. I think it was because Mickey and Nicole and Tammy were all heading down there from the Freedom Corner. They were heading to Colorado to protest outside the prison there. And now he was like, oh, we're going to let her out June 1st. So she won't quite be out, but we're going to celebrate her upcoming freedom and protest. Real America's Voice is going to be there, and we're thankful for that. And kind of exciting times, though. It is good to be home. We've got some work to do yet, but I'm glad to be here.
We do have a lot of work to do, and I'm so thankful for Tina Peters being free and all that. The reality was she was a hostage. They used her like they used us, a puck. Yeah. She did exactly what she thought was right. She did what the state law said for her to do, and they literally punished her for it. Again, the suppression, the lawfare, the continuation of the weaponized DOJ, and the bureaucrats, the unelected bureaucrats that continue to haunt so many God-fearing Americans who simply will not sit on the sideline. They will tell you they disagree with it, but they will show up to tell you. Right. So I'm thankful for that too. And again, congratulations. I've got my youngest one is graduating also, and I'm thankful for that. And my oldest is military also. So.
Okay.
There's a lot to be thankful for, but we have a lot of work to do. Right. And a lot of the work that we have to do basically is pay back the positive to the communities and doing the right thing. Pay it forward. Do something for someone else, and you'll find that it makes everyone better. And that's what we're supposed to do. We have to beat these people by succeeding. Not by crashing out, but by succeeding. And I hope everyone really takes that to heart. And I would tell my brothers, my sisters out there also, you're not a victim. Quit being a victim. Get out of that mentality. The lump on it, we're over that. Now let's move forward. Let's move forward positively. Let's succeed. And let's prove them all wrong.
I've been sober almost 2 months now. I quit drinking. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful.
Congratulations.
That I can talk about it and share this with the audience. But there was times since I've been home that I was suicidal, and dealing with the whole BART thing was a lot. Dealing with fielding the calls from the guys, like suffering and just kind of trying to process that, and then suffering in my own right, and kind of feeling alienated and lost, and not really feeling like I had a home. Like when I was at home in Houston, I just felt like I was all alone, man. But I wanted to share this, and I've talked about this before on here, but I talked to Don from Cowboy Logic, and I was like, man, I'm fixing to go to rehab because I haven't been drinking too much. And he's like, Shane, I don't think you need rehab. And I was like, yeah, why do you say that? He goes, well, I'm not a counselor or anything like that, but he said, I think you forgot who the hell you are. You know what I mean? And I said, you know what? I said, and I think that's partially right, but I think we left a couple letters off of it. There's like a S-E they did off, and I think I had forgotten whose I was, right? I am chosen by the Most High King, you know what I mean? Jesus Christ, God the Father. And so I just had to realize that and start to walk in that. But I'm thankful for all the blessings that he gives me. I'm thankful for all the doors that he opens and the ones that he closes too, man. Life is good. You got anything, any way that people can reach you, Peter?
Well, I just stay in my own lane. I don't really do a great deal. What I will ask anybody to do is always remember people like Bart Shively, paid the ultimate sacrifice. He was literally railroaded by this government. He served his nation. He gets non-Hodgkin's lymphoma from Camp Lejeune water. They agreed to pay this man his settlement. Not that it would have helped him. He passes away, never sees a dime. They stalled him out and drug their feet, like so many of the good veterans that are dying off. And then ultimately, restoration with the financial gain that might come to some of us back to help us try to recoup at least the monetary side of what we lost from being held hostage by our government. You'll never get to see that either, but I would ask that you guys remember men like him. Good men, God-fearing, loved America. Right. Say a prayer for him. Think about him. Do something in his name. Make a donation to Children's Hospital and Animal Society or something like that. He was real big on that. That's all I ask is, I've been very blessed, even with all the turmoil in my life and all that. I don't see it that way necessarily, because the reality is I'm at more peace right now than I've ever been. And everything is so clear at this point for me. And I'm thankful for my family because we still communicate, even though, it unfortunately ended in divorce, but we still communicate very well. So I'm thankful for that and to still have their support. Just not the way I'd planned, but nothing is, right? So I'm very fortunate and very blessed. Thank you for having me, Shane.
Yeah, absolutely.
God bless America.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, Peter. We will be back with more Liberty's Cage right after this. Thanks for coming on, Sigger. Tune in.
Joe the Box, the America First Warehouse, most patriotic venue in all the land.
The America First Warehouse, a beacon for all to see, a symbol of unity. For the patriots of America, we stand tall and free. In the America First Warehouse, where our hearts will always be.
The America First Ultra MAGA Store. For all your MAGA needs. We sell t-shirts, tumblers, flags, hats, sneakers, bumper stickers, and a whole lot more. The most patriotic America First retail store. The America First Ultra MAGA Store.
Are you a true American? Then it's time to get connected. Download the America First Media and Television app and stay up to date with real news, bold voices, and live events from the America First Warehouse. From national broadcasts and exclusive shows to comedy nights, concerts, and special events. It's all right at your fingertips. No filters, no spin, just America First. Download the America First Media and Television app today and be part of the movement.
Corporate transfer, fine professional, moving and storage, and inventory management.
America First Warehouse was really the most patriotic venue that you can ever imagine. We wanted to build something for people to be able to come to and feel so comfortable and so relaxed because there is nothing out there like it. We give an opportunity for people to really feel good about themselves and about this great country.
I'm Shane Jenkins, your host of Liberty's Cage, back with more with Peter Steger, Jan Sixer, Hispanic, Muslim, Jay Sixer, alleged white supremacist. I don't know how that's possible. He's got a picture of Bob Marley and Jimi Hendrix in the background. I don't know how that's possible, but whatever. Whatever. We'll just let CNN and all them run with that. I like that. So, so you were talking about the how you're overqualified for the job, but they still cut the position. So there is still some sort of, we're blacklisted. Somebody in HR is seeing these things, and they're saying, hey, we can't just say, no, we're not going to hire him. So what we're going to do is we're going to do away with this position altogether. So they can't say, well, they didn't hire me. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, we know that's what, I can't say for a fact that I know, but I know what it is.
Yeah. So I had a conversation. I'm not going to tell the individual that I don't want them getting in trouble, and they told me that they got a phone call from Washington. Somebody in Washington actively contacted them, and basically they eliminated the job. So there was pressure. And here's the other thing too, is it's somebody on the judiciary side hasn't eliminated the information from our names and our file. So it still shows up. I can't go into Canada. I can't drive into Canada as a CDL operator because of whatever still shows up.
You were never in trouble prior to this, so you don't have a criminal record prior to
I don't have a criminal record, right. I did a lot of outreach in the community. I spent 2 years in public schools as watchdog dad. I built a float for the elementary school for, I think, about 5 years. I do a lot of homeless outreach and stuff like that. I no longer do any of that because it causes too many issues with parents, and the publicity is just awful for them. And it's just not worth them getting hounded. Right. So if I do something, it's very quiet. But I would love to do more, and it's just simply not viable right now.
I mean, I don't think people understand what that is like. I mean, what really sucks is being a felon. I have, I just can't go work some jobs. There's certain jobs that I just can't go work. But for somebody who was, a pardon is forgiveness under the letter of the law. He is the top law person in the nation. And it's a federal law that we allegedly violated at the Capitol. And he has said by writ of pen that you are legally forgiven. There is nothing left in regards to your guilt regarding any events that happened at January 6th. We've run into this. I have an advocate. His interview aired last week, Arvis Owens. He is a wrongfully, falsely accused and was in prison, found guilty under the military. So he's an advocate for military people who are wrongly prosecuted for sexual assault or rape and stuff like that. And now he doesn't defend people who have multiple cases. He defends people who have cases where the witness wants to recant their statement and the judge is like, nope, we're not doing that, or we're not allowing this into evidence. This is a confession saying they lied on this guy, and they're saying, no, we're not allowing that to be admitted into court, and they still find these people guilty. Well, what happens is it eventually goes through the appeal courts. They're found not guilty. They're exonerated. They're released from prison. They get out, and guess what? They're exonerated, but guess what? Just like the J6ers, when they go apply for a job, it still says sexual assault or whatever it is, and it says like charges dismissed or whatever. So people are still discriminating, and this is not at a judiciary level. This problem can be rectified at the FBI, at the DOJ. These are the people. There's a form that you can fill out to have your file expunged. We are no longer guilty under the law. All they have to do is delete that, and there's I forget what it is. It's a form that you fill out, but they only do about, I think it's like 3% of them are actually expunged. And so you would think if we had this friendly all-star team, which we thought we had with Cash Patel and Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi and all these people, that hey, they're going to fight for the MAGA movement and the We the People and all this stuff, and here we are over a year later, and J6ers are still having a hard time finding a job. And so it just goes to show that some people are all talk. They either went over to the dark side or they never were on our side, is what it seems like.
Yeah, I think they were probably limited hangouts just in general. But they definitely haven't done us any justice, I guess you could say, really. And it's really, again, this is deliberate. Somebody's not removing the stuff on a large group of us. It's not accidental. It's deliberate because my legal team told me that there's nothing that should be seen. In fact, my probation officer here in Arkansas contacted me and told me that I was removed completely out of the system as far as she knew. And as soon as we hung up the phone, that would be the case. And I thought it was until I contacted the border there in Canada, and they just said, "Oh no, you're not allowed entry."
Right.
Which is crazy.
You can't drive. You can fly in.
I can fly in,
but you can't drive in.
I can't drive a domestic vehicle or a commercial vehicle.
Right.
Which again impedes my livelihood because this is I'm trying to earn a living so I can pay my extortion taxes.
Well, and that's kind of where there's other guys. So we can get into this, but. Jeff McKillop went to a church to work security. And how qualified do you think a Special Forces Green Beret, former CIA contractor, Green Beret medic, like how qualified do you think he is to conduct security at a church? And we'll try to get him on for this show, I think. But he tells the guy, like one of the deacons at the church or the pastor or somebody, I forget who it is, and the guy, he tells him he's a J6er and all this stuff, of all his qualifications, and the guy turns around and walks off.
Yeah.
Like, and this guy offered up life and limb. I'm talking, Jeff's a badass. Like, he knows some stuff, probably, stuff that he can't tell us about.
True sacrifice.
And these people, this man turned around and walked off. A deacon of a church, because of politics and what happened on January 6th, turned around and walked off in that man's face. And that is, I'd rather him slap me in the face than to do that.
Yeah.
It just goes to show that things are not changing for us.
Yeah, there's more evil, it seems, and this really causes it to bear its head. Ultimately for us, we found, and I think a lot of us have found, is a majority of people that we thought were our friends and that we could rely on, ultimately, they just simply weren't reliable, and we made some pretty bad judgments, evidently. And that's one thing I'm thankful for. My life is so much easier when it comes to people now because I just simply don't let that many people around me at this point. I do individuals who aren't scared to voice their opinion and that are willing to stand on their 10 and to do things that are positive, and also, it does help if you believe in Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? Like that helps tremendously, but also it's more than just believing in it. It's your actions to other human beings. That right there is pretty much how I'm gauging. And I don't care what politics you have. If I see you move in a good way, that represents Messiah or something, positive and helping, beneficial, because you can, because you want to, because it's right. You know it deep inside, and it's, again, there's nothing in it for you other than a smile.
That's right.
I like that type of person, and I don't care who you are or what color you are or where you come from. It's just simple. I like the way you move. Me and you can do something. I'm going to help you. I'll bend over backwards to help you. Yeah. So.
You're kind of hitting home for me. Like I got to work in prison ministry, going back into prisons and sharing the gospel after I gave my life to Christ in 2016. I joined a prison ministry 2018 when I got out. Was at a discipleship homes, but ended up getting on staff. And like I was working in the oil field. I was making really good money before that. When I was working for the ministry, not making such good money. I had free living, free vehicle, free gas. Like they were paying for my car insurance, my phone. There was other perks to the job, but I had never made that little of money at a job. But I will tell you what, like the pay that was right down here in the gut, that was just like, you're doing something right. You're mentoring these kids and playing basketball with them one night a week, or you're picking up these guys from the bus stop coming out of prison that are coming to this ministry and taking them to Walmart and getting them their hygiene, and just like kind of like just serving, man, just putting your own ego to the side and being there and walking with somebody else who's had a hard time or going through hard, needs a hand, needs a leg up, whatever. There's something to be said for that, and I agree with you. I like those kind of people.
Yeah. And I'm going to say something here, that's going to probably offend somebody, but I don't really at this point. I love them and I tell them the truth, but you got individuals like Jake Lang running around burning Qurans. And to me, I'm like, why would you burn something that has literally an entire chapter dedicated to the man you claim to follow and the man that you supposedly love in Jesus Christ? And you're literally burning the book. I mean, to me, it's silly, and he does so much good, but it's just like, my goodness, what is wrong? You think that you think that he'd be okay with that, Jake? Or anyone, and to each his own again, we have differences in the beliefs, Muslims, Christians. I'm former Roman Catholic. My dad was a deacon with the Catholic Church. So I grew up Roman Catholic most of my life, but I feel that the people that I'm around, mainly in the Muslims, they actually stand better and align more with Jesus because of the blueprint that he left mankind than a lot of these supposed Christians like Mike Huckabee. I mean, these Zionist evil people that don't have an issue with the whole group of people being genocided, and they don't want to call it that. They'll turn a blind eye to it and say, because you're Christian, you should support it. No, you shouldn't support any innocents being murdered. I don't care who's doing it. It's not good, But I wish that our brothers that went through the suffering we went through would do a little more outreach to individuals in a positive manner, quit alienating massive segments of the population. That, I hate to say it, in the day of Armageddon, I believe that I'm going to be standing shoulder to shoulder with Christians and Jews.
We got to go.
Not the Zionists.
We got to go to break. We'll be right back with more Liberty's Cage right after this.
For the patriots of America, we stand tall.